9% of Americans who set New Year's resolutions felt successful in achieving them by the end of the year. 9%. And from somebody who has embraced failure over the last couple of years, I know that that statistic is still super low, and I think it could be really a lot higher than that. New Year's resolutions typically center around core topics like money, health, relationships, and whilst a lot of people laugh at those who set those goals, I think it's actually a harmless habit that you can adopt every single year and embrace to go forward. 76% of participants in a Michigan State study found that when they set and wrote down goals, actions, and reviewed progress weekly with a friend were successful in achieving their goals, compared to those who didn't do any of that at a 43% success rate. So I want to show you in this video a process for adopting a month, week, and a tracking system that is really going to set you instead for making better habits and New Year's resolutions in the next year. I'm also going to show you some ways that you can implement it in tools and other tools that will be successful in your journey across this next year. So, welcome. If you are new, my name is Francesco. We're going to dig right into this, but if you haven't checked out Toolfinder for finding productivity tools, you can find it linked below if you fancy it. It's our place that we created to help you find the best tools for the job, so go and check that out. So, the system I'm going to show you today is called the Annual Renew, and a lot of the systems at the end of the year are called Annual Review. Well, this renewal is a focus on the year ahead versus reflecting on the year that's just been. All you need for this is a note-taking application or even pen and paper. To be honest, you can use this pretty much with anything you've got, and I designed it as a way to just simply break down a system and start going through it. I'm going to show you the really basic structures of it so you can just go thrown in the deep end, and if you actually wanted a template for this, I'll include it in the next newsletter of Tool Digest linked below. So what you can see here is what we're going to do is actually first split the year up into months. Now, obviously, January to December, but one of the things you can do to make this a little bit more organized and structured is actually keep it really simple. J24, F24, M24 if you want to keep it super short titles, although you can have full titles if you want to as well. We're going to take this same methodology into weeks as well. The way that I typically think about weeks is by 1 to 52. So the best way to do this is call them W124 or W1 2024. This is a great way to organize them because you can Google easily what week it is of the year and really get back to it if you found that you drop out over a couple of weeks, which I'll explain later. So this is going to be really important. The months area is going to be more holistic. The week area is going to help us plan more on the ground and help us journal as well across the year. So here we have some of the layout already structured for us. You've got weeks and months over here. And now it's important to set your overarching goals. Now, obviously, one of the things that many people will go to do is set 2024 goals. Of course, we all want to set New Year's resolutions, but there's actually a book called 12-Week Year that helped me rethink whether that's something too aggressive to do. The reason being is because a lot of the time, we're going to look very different by the end of the year, and sometimes that's a great thing. So setting maybe 3-month goals might be a better approach to it, hence the title of the book, 12-Week Year. And I think sometimes that can help you to review and improve your goals and really churn them out better. So if you're looking at this, you can set 2024 goals that are going to overarch all of these, but I'd recommend setting 3-month ones. So when you look at your goals, one of the biggest tips and recommendations is to be very smart with them. Breaking them down into 3 to 4 key areas can be really effective. A little tip, whilst I was at university, I actually found that breaking my time down into personal, social, professional, and academic helped me to break down the core aspects of my life. And maybe you can do the same with personal, health, career, and maybe something more specific. We want these goals to be smart target based. So we want them to have a metric in it and we want them to have a relative time date. So if you are focusing towards 3 months, then look to set a date at the end of the 3 months that you're setting. Okay, so now we've got our overarching goals. What we can do is go into the months of the year and break down those goals based on what month it is. Now, if you're doing the 3-month process, you're only going to be able to get to March, which is absolutely perfect because then you can go into a big review stage in March to set your next 3 months of goals. But this system really does help you to set overarching monthly goals. And breaking down monthly goals is important because you get much more tangible that feed into the weekly goals that you set. So let's go back to the month view. Obviously the week view is a great way to plan those micro goals and micro targets across a week, priorities that you're going to be focusing in on. We'll come back to that in a moment, but for January, for March, for all of the months of the year, what I'd like to do is actually break it down into wins, losses, and lessons. These are 3 areas I think are actually really beneficial to keep track of and can come in helpful with the annual review later in the year. Wins is essentially just an area to keep track of things that you've succeeded on, even small goals, small wins that you can write down. Losses are things that you didn't do so well, and lessons are the lessons you learned from either the wins or the losses as you go across the year. So some good examples could be anything from personal life to your little one achieving something in school, all the way to you achieving a bench press success or something like that, health related. You get the idea. Keep them simple, bullet pointed, successes and losses, and write out your lessons, just small amount of lessons each time. And this reflection will help you month on month to improve that. And it allows you time at the end of the month to keep this updated. Although I typically actually recommend you keeping the wins, losses, and lessons updated in real time to keep you refreshed and updated. So now we've got a grasp on our monthly overview. What we're going to use a week area for is really to set priorities, reflect them as monthly goals because we want to see what they move, how we move the needle towards the month goals. And we also want to use this as a journal area. So feel free to just bullet point things across a week, lessons that you've learned, or maybe small things that you can transfer across, or things that you want to do better on. So zooming out, this is a system that I think is going to be really, really helpful. It's called the Annual Renew, and I think it's actually going to be really, really beneficial for you to consistently zoom out, consistently track, and track actions as well. Thinking about that 3-pronged process to the success of those students that were doing that study, it found that doing and focusing on goals, actions, and weekly progress is a great progression forward. Now, looking at apps that you can use to help do this, Notion is typically a good one, but you can use any note-taking application. But if you're looking for something super specific, there are actually apps like Time, Stripe, which are designed to set goals and align them in the future. There's actually sort of a structure to this and allows you to plan much further in advance. They're not a sponsor of this video, but it's just something to note because this application is probably the most specific personal goal planner that I've found. But you can replicate this with any to-do list app that you do find and system that you want to implement with. So let's look at some of the key takeaways. Reflecting on your month, breaking down your goals that are set either 3-month or yearly into those months will help you to advance, and they're crucial to improve how you progress over the year. The week view is a great way to constantly extract wins, losses, and lessons as you go across your month. Zooming out and appreciating things will help you to achieve an annual review that is a lot better at the end of the year. So folks, I really hoped you enjoyed my system, and of course you can find it if you want the template that I've created here. You can sign up to the tool digest, which will be linked below, and I'll send it in the next newsletter release. But it's been a pleasure helping you to set your news resolutions, and if you're interested, you can subscribe to keep productive and check out Toolfinder if you're in the hunt for any productivity tools. Happy New Year everyone, and I hope that you achieve all of your goals this year. See you soon.